what's up? This is DJ Thunderous. I'm happy to be here with David, the guitarist for the Night Flight Orchestra and also Soilwork. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Can you give us a history of the Night Flight Orchestra, please?
Do you want the long one or the short one?
Whichever makes you happy.
Okay. I'll do the short one. It's probably going to be the long one in the end as well. But what happened was I did my first tour with Soilwork in 2006 as a session guitarist. I didn't know the guys. I just finished medical school and I was not very active musically. And then I saw that Peter Witchers, the old guitarist from Soilwork, had left the band, and they put up like an ad on Blabbermouth, I think, and then like they were auditioning guitarists. So I lived quite close by, so I thought, like, what the hell, I can always send a message. So I sent them like an email and said, hi, I can audition. So I didn't know them at all. So I went there and auditioned, and they hired me for that US tour. And while we were on that tour, me and Björn, the singer, we like bonded quite immediately over our mutual love for classic rock and started like listening to Toto and Survivor and Whitesnake and Kiss in the back lounge and having a party, and everyone hated us. But we loved each other. So even though I played with Soilwork on and off after that, but me and Björn kept in touch, and on that tour in 2006 we decided that we need to start our own classic rock band. We felt that there was like a void in the music scene, that we felt that we need to fill this void. There's like this, we wanted to create music that we ourselves wanted to listen to, and it took us a while because we all had like busy schedules, and I became a father twice, and he was out doing his thing with Soilwork, and we kept in touch. And then around like 2010 something, we managed to find a bunch of people who like loved classic rock, so we got together and we rehearsed a space for the first time, and it was like instant magic. I mean, I had a few songs that I've written, and just started playing it. It was all there, like the sound. That sounds a bit soppy, but it's true. It's like, wow, this is something different, and we had that like chemistry from the beginning, and so it was like, okay, we need to do something. We need to make a record, and then it took us like a couple of years to even get a record deal, because back then in the early 10s, I guess, no one was doing what we were doing, and especially not a bunch of metal musicians
True.
Playing. Obviously, we knew quite a few people in the industry, but we talked like Nuclear Blast, Central Media, Roadrunner, etc. And they're all like, "Oh, you guys are great. It sounds fantastic, but we don't know what to do with you. It's just too strange having a bunch of guys like you playing this kind of music." So it took us like a few years to get a deal. So finally, Björn's friends from Italy, they had a small label called Corner Records. They gave us a deal with a very tiny budget and like no advertising, nothing. But we just felt that, we need to do this. And so we went in and made our first record, and no one really noticed, but it was so much fun. So we did one more, and it was even more fun. And then after the second album, Nuclear Blast offered us a deal, like, which we didn't expect at all. But it was like, wow, that's great. Thank you. And of course, when you get signed to a big label, people get interested, and we suddenly had more resources, and we got ourselves like a proper booking agent and a management, and we started getting offers from festivals, and we did our first like European headline tour. And after that, it's kind of it's not like we're Metallica, but we've had some commercial success in Europe, and it's slowly getting bigger for each album, and I hope it's going to be growing even more with this one.
I hope so too. Now, where did you get the name of the band Night Flight Orchestra?
Björn and I first started talking. It was like, we need to capture that romantic classic rock thing, and it's always something slightly magical about flying and the whole idea of escaping reality, or just the whole traveling thing that you do so much when you're in a band, and also like there are so many classic and tragical stories that are flight connection. Like you know Paul Kossoff, the guitarist from Free, and he died on a night flight from LA to New York. They found him in the airplane like toilet when they had landed. That was a night flight, and it's a horrible story. There's nothing fun about it at all, but it's like we just want to have a name that captured that whole like tragic, romantic, mysterious, epic thing that we want to capture and express with our music. And also adding the orchestra at the end, that sounds a bit pretentious and ambitious and a bit over the top, and that's also something that we want to be.
It seems to me you guys are on like a journey.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we are. We definitely try to evolve as a band, and we're continuously trying to add new influences to our music and to just throw in more surprise elements in there and do stuff that people wouldn't have expected. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's a journey for us, and also we want our music to be like a journey for the listener as well. Like releasing an album and having like every song to be like a tiny micro universe in itself, and to have like lots of interesting like production details and altering the sound. And so our ideal is to do albums like Night at the Opera by Queen or something like that, where it almost feels like every song is made by a different band. Of course, it's you can still hear it says, but it's something that's our aim.
Seems like a story, that you guys have a theme, you know, you have a story going on with every track that you have so far on the new album.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a bit about all the members and how their different talents come together to make this journey that you're on happen?
Certainly very different as individuals. If we start with me, I'm the main songwriter. I write like 85% of the music and lyrics, and I play the guitar. But I mean, I mostly see myself as a songwriter that happens to play the guitar. I used to be I wanted to be a guitar hero when I was young, and now I'm almost 19. No, but I mean, to me, it's the songwriting thing is what makes this. I think it's what sets us apart. We really try to develop and cover different areas, and I guess I'm the guy who always tries to take things a bit further, and I guess I'm the guy who make things happen, because I'm the one who's always like pushing the others, like let's do this, so someone's always going to need to be the pushy one. I'm usually the one behind the themes and the overall direction, whereas Björn is he's a great songwriter. He always writes a couple of songs for each album, and they're always fantastic. He wrote the first single, Divinyls, and that's like a typical Björn song, very catchy, very immediate. He's also very conscious about the way we look, the way we present ourselves. So he's like when it comes to the live thing and photo shoots, he's like the visual guy. I mean, that's his thing. And he's also a fantastic singer. Worse with age, but he's actually getting better, which is kind of strange. I really admire him as a singer, and that he's able to keep like pushing himself to new heights for every album. And then we have Charlie D'Angelo on bass. He's a fantastic bass player, totally underrated, because you never really hear he's a fantastic metal bass player, of course.
He was from another band also as well, right?
Yeah. He's playing in Arch Enemy, and they're kind of huge. It's a great band, but of course, like in metal, he's a fantastic bass player. A lot of potential that people usually don't know about. Because I mean, if you play bass in a metal band, modern metal, you're not really allowed to go all crazy on the bass.
Right.
So, but with the Night Flight Orchestra, he's a super creative and inventive bass player, and I know that he has a lot of fun finally being able to show off what a great and versatile bass player he is. He's also like our spiritual mentor in a way.
Yeah.
He's not a songwriter. He doesn't write any music or lyrics, but he's like he has a very good radar for when something's good and when something is not good. So kind of guy who like I write like for each album I write like 40 songs, and he's the guy saying, okay, that's a Night Flight song, and that's not a Night Flight song. So he's like, we tend to depend on him or his taste to decide what's good and what's not. So he plays a huge role, even though he's not like writing stuff himself. And then we have Jonas Kjellsbeck, our drummer. He's an old friend of mine who's played all kinds of music. He's like a jazz drummer, very versatile and very pick and play anything. And he's like a very energetic person, very much the classic wild man drummer. And he brings so much positive energy to the band. Like you're on tour and everyone's like feeling like crap. He's always positive and looking forward to the show, etc. So he's like a big moral support.
Seems to me like you all work hand in hand together to keep this band, so strong in what it is.
Yeah, I mean, some of us were friends before we started, but we've all become great friends. So, and that's like one of the main reasons why we're still doing it. I mean, we still have so much fun together. We call this our vacation band because it never feels like work. It's still just so much fun, and it's also like we're not being bound by a specific genre. We can do pretty much whatever we want to do. If I write a reggae song or a bossa nova, if it's a good song and we can do it.
I don't know about the hip hop.
Justice, no, probably not hip hop. But you know what I mean. It's like a lot of bands have like. I mean, compared to like Soilwork, which I love playing with Soilwork. It's fantastic, but it's different, and things still have to be a bit metal. You can't just go ahead and do whatever because that would be a fiasco. Even if we did the greatest disco album on earth with Soilwork, no one would take it seriously. But with Night Flight, we can do pretty much anything, and no one's going to react.
Well, what I listened to, I like so far. So actually, we're going to check out one of your tracks here off the new release, Aromantic. Let's check out Divinyls. Hey, that was Divinyls. I know we watched the video for that, and we actually listened to it, and it took me on quite a journey. Could you tell everyone about that one, please?
Yeah, that's Björn's song. So I'm not really sure what he thought when he was writing it, but I know that the reason it's called Divinyls, it's because of Divinyls were a great band from Australia. I don't know if you heard of them. They're mostly famous for a track called "I Touch Myself," which was a hit in the '90s. But they had a quite a long career before then, and they had a fantastic lead vocalist called Christine Pamphlet, I think, who died too young, tragically. But there's a song called "Boys in Town" from like '81, '82, and there's one of the founders of Apple. He sponsored this huge festival in California called US Festival in '82 and '83, I think. And on one of those festivals, the Divinyls were playing, and they did a fantastic version of Boys in Town, where Christine Pamphlet, she was like wearing a schoolgirl's uniform, and she was all covered in blood and headbanging, and me and Björn have watched that video so many times, and that was like his inspiration for that track. Musically, I'm not sure what the lyrics are about, but then he came up with the whole idea of Ice Queen competition skating thing, and I think it's a really nice, catchy song. Great first release from a new album.
Has to be fun to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to doing it live.
I know you have a tour coming up actually for your release, correct?
Yes, we're starting in London on the 6th of March, and then we're going to continue all through March and April as well. And then we have lots of European summer festivals coming up, and then we're actually coming to the US for the first time in September to play Prog Power in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, nice. We're in New York, so we probably won't be there, but we'll be there in spirit. So you've had 5 releases since you've begun. How have that evolved and changed you as a band?
Well, I guess we've when we did the first album, I guess we were a bit more 70s influenced, and also we were a bit afraid to stray too far from the hard rock thing. So I think it was more like guitar based in the beginning and more 70s sounding, and it was also like the first album for Björn where he only did clean vocals. So I still like that first album, Eternal Affairs, but you can hear that we're still like trying to find out what we're all about. And I think for every album we've done ever since, we've taken things a bit further, and we're not afraid anymore to add some 80s influences and allow ourselves to go a bit more over the top and just do whatever we feel like. And I think there's also a huge leap between album number 2 and 3, like when we got our record deal with Nuclear Blast, and I guess you can hear that we have more confidence and really want to prove something, where our third album, Amber Galactic, and then I think we've developed in that direction ever since, and with this new album, Aromantic, I think it's even further out there. I think it's more diverse and it's more complete, and it's hopefully going to blow your mind.
I like it so far. Now, with Aromantic, where did you get the name Aromantic for the album, and what was the reasoning behind it?
It was Björn's idea. I think it's basically just a word play, combining two of our favorite elements, which is air and as in flight and romance, because there's like I said before, there's something very romantic about air travel. It just sounds good, and you can pretty much when you think about what aromantic might mean, you can get all kinds of pictures in your head.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's where you added in your flight attendants?
Yes, they actually became, after our third album, Amber Galactic, started employing them live as backup vocalists, because it's also something that you don't see much nowadays, like having proper backup vocalists on stage. Back in the 70s, everyone had a proper backup section live, like Elvis in Las Vegas, and and it worked so well, and we they're great people and great friends, and so they're full-time members these days. I think they add another dimension to the sound. There's like a certain female shimmer you get when you have some backup vocals as well.
And they do some dancing, I see.
Oh yes, they do the dancing. They do all the hard work. The rest of us, we can just, yeah.
All right, we're actually going to check out your second track here off the new release, Aromantic. Here's Transmissions. I'll say crank it up.
Silence piercing through my armor as she slips away, flee till I
All right, that was Transmissions. You also have a video out for that as well as Divinyls, correct?
Yes.
And what does it take to make a video? What do you guys have to go through? It's pretty neat that you guys...
I know you've seen the videos, and
Yes.
Personally, like a year or so ago, I just felt that, I mean, we're not even 25. So I thought, like, if I was a fan of the band, would I want to see them standing around trying to look cool with their instruments? Since we're a bunch of 40-plus guys, I thought, no. Or I suggest that we stop doing, like, performance videos and instead have, like, more of a cinematic feel to our videos with more dancing, more atmosphere, more... Every video should be more about the atmosphere of the song and not about us.
So more theme-like.
Yeah,
magical.
yeah.
That's what I noticed. It's pretty interesting how you guys did that.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're releasing on February 28th worldwide, right?
Yeah.
And you're touring for how long?
Well, it's going to be like 2 months, but it's not going to be like non-stop touring. We're doing like 3 weeks straight, and then we have a few days in between the shows in April. So March is going to be Europe, and then April is most going to be Scandinavia, and we have a show in Greece as well. And then it's like May, and then the summer festival season begins in Europe.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and then we're going to do a couple of festivals with Soilwork as well. So we're busy, but it's super fun. I mean, have you ever been to any European summer festival?
Have not. I've dreamt of it since I was a baby.
Yeah, no, but it's super fun. At least if the weather's good, it's amazing. There's a real nice atmosphere, and it's always special to play to those like huge crowds.
What's it like to be on stage as the Night Flight Orchestra when you guys are all up there?
I mean, it's a very it's like that Eminem song, "You Lose Yourself in the Music." But it's really just it's all about having fun and interacting with the crowd, and you can just be whoever you want, and just try to get the crowd to get that same feeling. And it's always wonderful to see like people in Mayhem and Behemoth t-shirts dancing disco. But but we want to like reach out to everyone, and I mean, for every tour we do, our crowd gets more diverse, and we have lots of people who have no connection to the metal scene whatsoever come to our shows, and that's fantastic watching like young people going there just because they've heard of us and like the music, and they have no idea what our backgrounds are. They just...
Yeah, it is catchy, I'll have to say, because I grew up with that kind of music, you know, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, why haven't I heard of these guys sooner? You know? And then to find out that you're with Soilwork, I didn't know that either. So I feel like, you know, this is kind of a unique thing you have going on here. So being that you're a doctor, a dad, a husband, a metal artist, and a classic metal artist, how do you manage to focus on what you're doing next? Gotta cook, gotta chop some more food there, huh?
Yeah, I'm actually cooking dinner right now as well.
That's what
I do have a busy mind. I guess I'm somewhat of a highly functional depressive. So if I don't keep busy, I tend to not do anything at all. So I'd rather stay busy.
And have you ever been on stage playing with Soilwork and forget that you're playing Soilwork and play the other band?
No.
No?
No. No.
It's not difficult for you?
No. But at the same time, it's not that huge of a difference either. I mean, I get that question a lot, whether it's hard to switch modes or whatever you want to call it, and I mean, not really. I mean, to me, it's all music. With Soilwork, you have tuned down your guitar, and you're not allowed to dance disco, but at the same time, it's still music, and me and Björn are the main songwriters in Soilwork too these days. So it's like it's all coming from the same source, and it's all it's not as, I mean, it's not that different, and I guess the older you get, the more you think about music as music rather than thinking about it as genres. It's all about just trying to do the best with what you have and trying to, just like with Night Flight, I mean, in Soilwork, we try to evolve with every album as well and create something new and different. I don't know if you're a Soilwork fan or if you've been listening to our more recent stuff, but we're always trying to do something new and different and push the boundaries with Soilwork as well. Even if we have to stick to the metal context, we still try to do something new and interesting with it. That's the whole reason why we still exist.
That's cool. Now, we were discussing before we came on air about Feverish, and could you let everyone know what we discussed about Feverish, the track?
Oh, yes. Yeah, Feverish. It's a Soilwork track, so now we're switching bands. Feverish, it's a standalone single, or not really a standalone single, that were released last year with a video as well, and we're gonna keep releasing a few singles this year. I think the next one is coming up in like March or something. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure yet, but it's gonna be great. Just to remind everyone that Soilwork is still very much active as a band, and I think there's something nice about releasing standalone singles, and you can just focus on that one track, and it's also about keeping the sounds kind of like very business-like, but it's also about keeping up your online presence. I mean, people have short memories these days, so you have to remind them that we're still out there, exactly, still creating, and I mean, Soilwork has gone through a lot of lineup changes and stuff over the years, and I've been a full member since 2012 when we did the Living Infinite double album, and I still really enjoy creating music with Soilwork, and I think the current lineup is really, we have a really good time together, which we didn't always have in the past. We've had lots of turbulence and stuff going on for various reasons, but I think this version of Soilwork is you can tell that we're having fun and that we still want to do something different. And Feverish is a track that's a bit, I think you can hear a bit of a Night Flight influence to it as well. At the same time, there's a lot of blast beats and a spooky 70s style video, which I think it's catchy, but it's also quite dark.
All right, so we're going to actually listen to that right now. That's why I want to discuss it before we listen to it. Here's Feverish. Crank it up. All right, that was Feverish. What do you guys think out there? What a difference between Feverish and the Night Flight Orchestra. But hey, at least we have the same guitarist here.
Yes, and the singer.
Oh yes, correct, and the singer. See?
Yeah, but obviously the guitarist is almost the most important person in the band. So.
So do you use the same guitars for each band?
Yes, sometimes I do. I mean, I have quite a few. I use ESP guitars. They're generous enough to give me free guitars, which is kind of strange. I mean, you do you play guitar yourself, or do you play an instrument?
No, and I can't sing either.
No.
No. I'd like to though.
But, and anyway, it's kind of strange. Like you grew up dreaming about being able to buy lots of guitars, and then you grow old, and then you're able to actually buy some guitars. Then you start getting them for free. It's like it's a mean world.
It is,
right?
Yeah. But then, guess what? Here you go. Now you have to play this.
Yeah. But I don't mind. I really like them. But I have a few guitars that I use for both bands, and I have a couple of guitars that I only use for the Night Flight Orchestra, and a few guitars I only use for Soilwork. There are a couple of that I use for both bands.
Do you have a memorable moment while out on tour that you'd like to tell us about?
A memorable moment? Of course, I've had tons of memorable moments.
You can say anything you'd like here. That's okay.
No, I mean that's always like a very difficult question because when you're out on tour, it all like becomes a blur. You travel from city to city, and you spend a lot of time doing nothing, and then all of a sudden you're doing lots of stuff. And
okay, how about something blowing up or something not working or someone falling off stage?
I had a night in Barcelona in Spain quite a few years ago, but I had this thing where I used to like throw my guitar on the floor at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. But that night I managed to throw it in the head of our then Soilwork bassist Olof Link. So I threw my guitar in his head, so he started bleeding, and then I actually accidentally managed to push the monitor off the stage as well.
Accidentally, huh?
Yes, I didn't mean to, but it was kind of slippery, and I just had my foot in it, and I was like, woof, oops, sorry. So that was a memorable night.
Well, I hope you guys enjoy your tour you have coming up, and I want to let everyone know that, just check them out while they're on tour, and the full release will be on February 28th, 2020, worldwide. Where can everyone find your merchandise, and what are your social media sites?
Just look us up on the Night Flight Orchestra on Facebook and Instagram, and Nuclear Blast. You can buy our merchandise from Nuclear Blast webpage as well, and the same goes for Soilwork. So if you want to find out our tour dates, just Google it. It's there on our social media and our Nuclear Blast as well.
All right. Well, thank you for being here with us, and I hope like I said, I hope you guys have a great tour, and we look forward to actually some more music coming up, hopefully in the near future.
Yeah, super.
All right. Could you do a shout out for the radio, please?
Yes. Hi everyone, this is David Andersson from the Night Flight Orchestra and Soilwork. You're tuned into the Thunderhead show on metaldevastationradio.com, where metal reigns supreme.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.